and welcome to today's first live. And um, um, yeah, that's right. I forgot the sound on this shit goes in and out, so I'm gonna take this off so that way we could get deep into this and there's no interruptions. So, welcome to today's live, and it's Chichi Mess from the books, and we're just gonna talk. I just want to talk about my dream theory on parallel universes. And this was inspired by Kalisha. So thank you so much for the inspiration. Um, and this is I'm trying it out. This is the first time I'm gonna do this. So let's go right into it. So the thing with me is that the my theory of dreams being parallel universes is more like it's it's more real than a theory, because for example, when I was young, my mother passed away. I was like about 11 years old. I remember that I used to have a lot of nightmares. Now that I'm older, I think back how I always had nightmares. And these nightmares are so intricate. They're very intricate. And the intricacy of my nightmares are so crazy that it's almost impossible for me to believe that I'm dreaming this shit and it's just in my imagination. You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, so let's make believe that it does make sense that I'm imagining these worlds in my head minutes before I'm about to wake up. Because they say that REM sleep is when you actually start dreaming, right? So you don't dream the whole time that you're sleeping. That's almost impossible for you to be dreaming the whole time you're sleeping. You only dream when you're about to wake up. So that being said, that means that when you enter REM sleep is when you want to go into the sleep portion of your night's rest, right? That being said, that means that your dreams are very short. It means that you can have a dream that feels like you were there for a whole eternity, but it is very short. So let's use the whole concept of time travel, right? So when you time travel, you could be in a place that you travel to, and you could be there for 20 years. But if you travel back here 5 minutes before you leave, you've only been gone for 5 minutes, right? So think about that for a second. Let that be just a focus point on the discussion. Think about that for a second, right? So if you time travel now and you go to another place and you stay there for 10 years and you come back and leap 5 minutes after you left, technically you've only been gone for 5 minutes. I don't care if you've been gone for 10 years. To us, you've been gone for 5 minutes. Same concept. You go into your dreams. You go into REM sleep. You fall asleep. You go into this dream, and in this dream, you're not new to the dream. You haven't just arrived to the dream. So you don't get to the dream and you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, you don't know what's going on, but that's just, you don't know what's going on. But when you're in this dream, the you that's in this dream knows exactly what's going on. It's moving, it's walking, it's going somewhere. If you think about it, when you have a dream, 9 out of 10 dreams that you have, you can't even control your body in your dreams. You're just like remotely there. You understand? You're like, it's like you're watching it happen. It's like virtual reality. You're watching it, but you're not feeling any of it. You understand what I'm saying? It don't even matter if they're killing you in your dream, they're chasing you. You could be out of breath from running in your dream, but technically, you're not feeling any of it. You understand what I'm saying? They could cut your arm off. You're not feeling it. It's like virtual reality. So now that I've experienced virtual reality, calm legend, now that I've experienced virtual reality, now I can actually simulate what I'm feeling when I'm in a dream. And when I'm in a dream is very similar to being in virtual reality, to the effect that when you're in virtual reality, you leap in to the middle of a game, right? You're playing a game, you left off, certain point. When you come back, you're right where you left off. When you're in a dream, have you ever had a dream where when you wake up, you're trying to remember the dream and you start forgetting it. But there's those moments when you wake up from a dream and it's such a horrible dream, you don't want to go back to that dream. And then what happens? You fucking go back to sleep and you're right back in the same fucking dream. Like, you're right back in the nightmare, smack dabbed in the nightmare again. How is that possible? You understand? How is it that there's people that can't even draw a fucking stick figure and they're dreaming up full on Michael Bay movies? You understand what I'm saying? With the explosions and everything's in it. How do your dreams have all these details? If you can't even draw a stick figure, you couldn't even make secondary colors. You wouldn't be able to grab two primary colors and make a secondary color. And if you didn't understand what I just said, it's the whole point of how do you decorate the dream, right? So my theory is that when you're falling asleep, what's really happening is you're really just, your body is actually creating a portal, because what we're taught portals are these things that are like these wormholes where you go in and come out the other way. Nobody told us that portals function the way you take the concept of a UFO, right? You look at a UFO. UFO is in the sky, and for a moment it looks like it's traveling on conventional methods, you know, the linear. It's going to go from one point to another point, linear, right? But what does the UFO do? The UFO could bounce through one matter and then appear in another place without disappearing, without a poof of smoke, without any of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? It'll just literally disappear here and appear here, but it'll be linear. You understand? As if it's following a path. The fourth dimension, which is not yet experienced, because if you're in the third dimension, you can only see in two dimensions. That's why when we look at things, we can only draw them in two dimensions, because when we're three-dimensional creatures. Three-dimensional creatures can only see in two dimensions. You understand? And two-dimensional creatures can only see in one dimension. You understand what I'm saying? So fourth dimensional creatures can see in our dimension, three dimension. You understand? Now fourth dimension is like a tetrahedron, which is a cube inside. It's like four cubes inside a cube, right? So when you're in the fourth dimension, there are no walls, so you could go through walls because it's the fourth dimension. There's no physical, because everything is just a dimension. If you haven't seen the kid who explains the fourth dimension, YouTube that. I'm gonna put the link inside the description, but you have to watch that to understand what I'm trying to explain to you. And what I'm trying to explain to you is that when you go from dream state, you leave the physical body, right? When you fall asleep, you leave the physical body, and then your physical stays behind in the third dimension, which is the physical, right? And then what happens is your spirit form goes into the fourth dimension, where it could go from dimension to dimension to dimension. However, since we don't know how to control interdimensional jumps, what we tend to do is, I was sad about my life, so the only way I used to remedy it was I would imagine what would be a worse life. And that's why my dreams were nightmares, because I would always have the perception that something's got to be worse for me to appreciate this. So I would interdimensionally jump into lives where the interdimensional other me was about to be murdered. So they say that life flashes before your eyes when you're gonna die. That's what they mean by that. What they mean is that you're gonna see your whole life in one shot. Now, when you see your whole life in one shot, you also open the possibility for someone who's astral projecting to jump into your body. Because as you know, we are tuning forks. Have you ever seen an exorcism? Have you ever seen shit like that? Those are demons trying to house human bodies. So if a demon could take over a human body, what are the chances that you cannot astral project into somebody that is you about to die? right? Because he's allowed to. He's not going to tell anybody about it. He won't even be able to say it. He won't even be able to admit it because he's about to die. The only thing that's going to happen is he's going to cease to exist. Have you ever had that dream, that you're falling from a fucking building and you're about to hit the floor? What usually happens? You wake up right before you're going to hit the floor. That's because you're technically astral projecting into that body and you're viewing what is going to happen to that interdimensional you, which eventually is going to die, and you won't have no proof of it, but you dreamt of it. So how is it that you experienced the whole fall, the whole death, and then you wake up feeling scared in this body? That's astral projection. You were released from that host when that host ceased to exist. So if you could astral project from a body that's about to die into the next dimension, it's like literally living forever. Like, that would probably the closest thing to immortality would be to astral project like Jet Li from one dimension where you're about to die to another dimensional you, which is another thing that comes to me. Did you know that as you embody this idea of your dreams being dimensional, alternative dimensions, when you embody that idea, you also embody the idea there is a collective you, which means that all of the yous that exist all share a subconscious. You all have one universal mind, which means that I've never, and quote me if I'm wrong, if you never thought you could do it, it's because you can't do it. I don't know if it makes sense, but if you never thought you could do it, you can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? So I never really thought that I could actually be like a brain surgeon. So it's never crossed my mind how to be a brain surgeon, or has it ever crossed my mind to be like a skyscraper builder? You understand what I'm saying? Because there is no dimension where I exist where I do that. You understand what I'm saying? There's no dimension that exists in all the multi-dimensions that exist, the millions of infinite variations of me. Because that's another thing. When you hear a song and you think that you could play the piano, or you hear an air guitar, you're like, I like the air guitar, or I like the drums. Whatever it is that you like is because there's a dimension where you exist, where you are really good at that. You understand? So if you are like, oh no, every time I look at dogs like me, I don't know why. It ain't an afterlife. It ain't none of that shit. It's that there's a dimensional you where you exist, where you have this feeling. That's why you're sharing it right now. You understand? Like, a lot of people say I'm cold-hearted. Oh, you don't share much emotion. But there's an interdimensional me that's very emotional. I know, because there's times that I do shit that I'll be like, damn, maybe that was kind of fucked up. But I don't care. You understand? But it crosses your mind. You understand? Like I borrow from interdimensional me's, and you could borrow from interdimensional yous too. Because if you can imagine, like, for example, right? I know there's an interdimensional me that makes music videos. He's like fucking the best music video dude in his dimension. Famous for it, right? There's also an interdimensional me that does tattoos. There's an interdimensional me that's a wealthy, successful businessman. There's an interdimensional me that has a huge family. There's an interdimensional me that's a famous athlete. Interdimensional me that's a famous rapper. Like, there's so many versions of me that exist. And the reason I know this is because I'm good at taking that energy and using it in this dimension. So I believe that there's a way for you to harness all their powers, just like Jet Li does in the one. Instead of killing all of the dimensional yous, you can actually harness their intelligence and use it here. And I know it don't make no sense because you're not understanding the concept. But if you wrap your mind around the concept that there's no way in hell that you could imagine a world that doesn't exist If you could, right? If you could, you say you imagining these dream worlds and you're dreaming shit. Some people are like, I'm dreaming the future and I'm dreaming shit that's gonna happen, right? If this is all so true, then I want you to sit down and describe me one of these worlds so somebody who can draw can actually do it for you. I want somebody who has the talent to draw what you've imagined in your brain, and I guarantee you, you will not come close to what you saw in your head. Okay? Because what you see in your head is you not being where you are right now. And a lot of people are gonna say, but what about the dreams where it's shit like fucking flying things in it, and where I'm like where I was a giant monster? Like, then those are dimensions that exist. There's things that the mind cannot explain. I cannot explain the fourth dimension to you because the fourth dimension is not something that you will ever be able to see. You understand? And since I know you cannot see the fourth dimension, the closest thing you're gonna get to the fourth dimension is gonna be your dreams. Your dreams are your unlimited potential, because when you are dreaming, there is no buffer that's gonna stop the thoughts from crossing. The only thing that could stop that is the fluoride in the water that the government uses to try to help you not dream shit. You know, and they would shit they put in the toothpaste so you don't dream shit. But if you manage to get a dream across, I want you to remember this dream. I want you to do everything possible to forget about the point of the dream and just try to remember the surrounding, the world, the area, and tell me that your mind created that shit. Then if your mind is that good at creating dreams and worlds, you should be designing games for fucking PlayStation 5, for virtual reality. But none of you will ever be able to fucking capture the imagination that you are seeing in your dreams, because these are actual worlds. The same way you will not be able to explain everything you see in your day. Have you ever tried to explain everything you see in your whole entire day to someone? Everything. I'm talking about the minute you looked up and saw a sign that had to the parking stand, and then you looked at a gate and it was open with a block and there was two doors open, and then you looked across and there was a car passing by. Like, I want you to explain to somebody your whole entire day, and I want you to not miss something. You won't be able to. So how is it that you're fabricating this dream in seconds when you're about to wake up? I don't care if you saw it in a movie. I don't care if somebody told you this shit in a book. There's no way you could imagine these worlds. You're astral projecting your whole fucking spirit into a whole new body. And if you want to, you could astral project not into the bad scenarios like falling out of buildings and getting murdered. You could astral project shit like, you could probably astral project into want to know what it's like to be married to somebody in this world. You're probably married to that person in that world. Everybody that you know in this dimension, you know in every dimension. Everybody that you know in this dimension, you know in every single dimension. They're either your brother, son, friend, or co-worker. They will be in your life in every dimension, no matter what dimension. You think that people are new to you. You meet somebody, you're like, no, well, I just met this person yesterday. Oh, I just met this person when I started working. All of that was meant to happen because every dimension has the same people in it. There is no way that you'll meet somebody in this dimension that you don't know in any other dimension. Just like there's no way that in a dimension you're going to be a brain surgeon when you don't even imagine that you could be a brain surgeon. You will only be in different variations of everything that you can imagine. Everything that you dream of, that you wish you were. Oh, I wish I was rich. I wish I wish there were times that I could buy. I wish I could buy a car just like I buy potato chips. Oh, I wish I had a mansion that had a jet ski. Oh, I wish I owned a whole bunch of real estate. All of those views exist. That's why you're saying it. You don't know it, but that's why you're saying it. You're saying it because you believe that shit, because there are other dimensions of you that actually exist. And in those dimensions, you are those things. You cannot imagine something that you are not in another dimension. It's almost practically impossible. The same way it is impossible for you to make up these fucking worlds that people call dreams. They're not dreams. They're actual places, and you're visiting them. And the most that you could do is, next time that you're in a dream, the most things that you could do is that you could try to remember everything surrounding you, so you could at least appreciate taking a trip somewhere. Because what you have done when you went to sleep is that you astral projected to another world where you have went on vacation, my friend. That is a free vacation. If people were to figure out how to monetize dreams like Total Recall, they literally will be selling you an experience. Look at Total Recall. That's exactly what dreams are. They're not dreams. Total Recall wrapped their fingers around it. Think about that for a second. What was Total Recall? It was selling you vacation experiences like dreams, and you felt like you were there. People are like, no, that's like virtual reality. It's not like virtual reality. It's like dreaming. What are you, fucking stupid? You know what I'm saying? This ain't no virtual. Your dreams are like virtual reality. Oh, where do you think the concept comes from? It probably stems from the idea of dreaming. Nobody would think to themselves, let me make a game where I'm the guy that's actually physically sweating my ass off trying to be in the fucking character. Like, no, virtual reality stems probably from the idea of some wild lunatic trying to live his dreams without having to be able to go to sleep. Maybe having a little more control over it. I might be wrong, who knows? But hey, just telling you, man. People keep thinking that dreams are dreams. People be like, yo, you know, I had a dream with you. The first thing I tell them is, tell me more. You know why? Because I want to know. I want to know how it looks. The place you visited. I might never go to that dimension. I might never leap into that dimension. That's all you're doing. You're a dimensional leaper. Every time you jump from one dream to another, when you wake up and you go back to sleep, you just jumped into a whole different dimension. You understand? So what I tell you, what is my advice? You want to be able to control your jumps? You want to control your dimensional jumps? Then you want to focus on what you're sleeping, what you're doing before you go to sleep, what you're thinking about before you go to sleep. You understand? Because if you could control that, you will control your dimensional jumps. Because I've wanted to, like, for example, if I like a girl, I want to know what it's like to be with that girl. I already know that if she's in my life in this life, in another dimension, she's my girlfriend. In another dimension, she's my side girl. In another dimension, she's my wife. So what do? I try to start dreaming about it. So when I go to daydreaming, you know, that's the real dream. Daydreaming, you're creating there. You understand? So I start daydreaming, putting together whatever I already have compilations of in my mind. And then when I go to sleep and hit that REM sleep, that's when I dimensionally jump into maybe, well, possibly one of those lives where I can experience it. And that's what we should be focusing on. I think that in the dream world, they should be like, we should be focusing not on the restful or like, what we need to be focusing on is that this is interdimensional jumping. And this is like the closest we're going to get to experiencing the fourth dimension. Don't you see that in dreams, you never even know when you start? You just, boom, in it. It just starts with you in it already. You understand? So that was my rant on dreams. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that because I feel like I've been holding that in for so long. I've never really said it, you know? If you guys agree with me, you know, drop a comment below. But I really think that there's no such thing as dreams. No, nobody dreams shit. That's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. I think that's just an idea that they sold us. We don't, dreams are you literally not in your body. When a person wakes you up, don't you always wake up mad scared? You know why you mad scared? Because your spirit was not in your body. So when you woke the person up, it jolted the person. The person had to come back into that body. And they were scared. They probably wouldn't even go back into the body. You don't even know what you were experiencing when you were astral projecting. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's crazy like that. You feel me? So that being said, I want everybody to have a good day. And the link for the kid who explains the fourth dimension is going to be in the in the link below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's very important that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And you already know, Chichimas from the BX, man. You guys have a good one. Thank you for listening.